Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well this Saturday evening. Figured we'd hop on, just do a more of a planned live stream this time, kind of what we've done a couple times before. Looking at a list that's out there and deciding, does the list live or die? Is it a good list or bad list? And today we're doing TV shows, so all genres of shows. We'll have to see if I'll read the actual description this time as far as like what the list entails to get a better idea of what to expect. But I'm assuming all genres will be represented. The one thing I don't know is like how much animation is going to be included. So we'll have to see with that. I think there's probably going to be like at least like American animated shows, something like The Simpsons, South Park, stuff like that. I don't know if anime will be included though. So we will have to see. Maybe the description will help determine that. Let me throw on some music too while we're chilling here. But yeah, how's everyone doing today? Hopefully decent Saturday thus far. Yeah, let me grab this, turn it down, and here we go. Is that loud enough? I can't really hear. Maybe turn up a little bit, maybe like there. What's up, Matthew? Hope you're doing well. What's up, Rusty? Good to see you both. We'll do what we did last time too. We'll pull up a little notepad here and brainstorm before jumping into it to kind of decide what we expect to see on the list, and then we'll see if it actually winds up being the case or not. There were a few different sources for this, so maybe we'll do other ones in the future. We did variety with the top 100 horror movies, so I figured let's do that again for the shows. But I think like Rolling Stone had their own list. There's probably a bunch of different options there, so we're going with varieties list for today to see how good they do at determining the best 100 shows. All right, notepads over here. I know Friends at least has to be on the list. That is probably on the list. I would agree. We can start there, actually, as you say that. Friends. We'll also do, I think this is going to be a little easier than movies because, like, there's pretty many TV shows too, but I feel like movies, there's like a endless amount. When it comes to shows, feels like maybe easier to determine like what's the really good ones, especially. So we'll have our just general list, and then we'll have our top 10 also, which maybe I start there with some of my ideas. SpongeBob? That goes back to my question of how much animation is going to be used here. Let me pull up the actual website and see if they kind of hint at anything here. All right, you and cool. All right, so you're welcome to read along, but I think it describes a little bit here. So what makes a great television show? Maybe as many types of excellence as there are excellent shows. Series can wow us with how broadly they change society, from Seinfeld. Okay, that's another good one. Mad Men. Yeah, it's kind of hinting at some here. Ooh, all the hallmarks of an early 21st century. Oprah Winfrey. I wouldn't have considered like daytime shows, but it sounds like they are. Okay. Or feel like closely held secrets, like The Leftovers or Enlightened. I don't think I know. The Leftovers I've heard of. I don't think I know them too well though. Let's see. This one I'm expecting to be on the top 10, honestly. The issue variety looks at all the ways TV is part of our lives, fittingly topped by shows. So appealing television has been chasing its success since its earliest days. Okay, it talks about I Love Lucy here a little bit. So it's giving a little bit of teasing for what to expect on the list. The list around which this issue is built reflects decades worth of evolutions and revolutions. The entries were chosen by a team of variety staff and contributors, taking into account the quality of each show and its cultural impact. Apologies to countless programs that deserve celebration. We limit ourselves to English language series that aired or streamed stateside. Okay. I don't know if that means anime is out of it, because they obviously have like dubbed version of the show, but I'm kind of leaning towards it being, if it didn't start in English, it maybe not be included here. Hope this list reflects two particular ways television can be great: familiarity and discovery. Okay, so they're going for some like heavy hitters, but also some like, hey, check this show out kind of stuff. May remind each reader of its past favorites, may introduce future binge watches too. Okay. Okay, so it's kind of an idea of what to expect on the list. With that in mind, let's go back to this. Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, I like that one. 100 is a ton. Like, I've talked about like my top 10 before, and I could probably go up to like, I could probably do like a 30 to 50, but 100 would be tough. I don't know. I don't know if I feel that strongly, like positively towards 100 shows. Sopranos for sure. I think Sopranos is a top 10. It may even be number 1. So let's brainstorm quickly. Top 10. I'm thinking Sopranos. I'm thinking Breaking Bad's on there. I'm thinking also, sorry if I'm like shaking the table here. I'm thinking The Wire. People love that show. I think I Love Lucy probably does make that. Yeah, Breaking Bad. Also, when was this? Let me double check when this was dated. So this is from December of 23. So it's 2 years old. So any shows that came out in the last 2 years will not be included here. So keep that in mind. NCIS. Okay. I don't hate that pick. It mentioned Oprah Winfrey, so let's just throw that one on there. What were the other one too it talked about? Have you guys watched I've heard of The Leftovers. I haven't watched it. The Leftovers or Enlightened? Well, it mentioned them, so I'm going to put them on the list, but I don't know. I don't know. Would I put it on the list though? That's the question, because if they have it, but it's not great. Justified, okay. Also, what about some like deep cuts like Mr. Rogers? Would that be a top 10? Probably not. Let's see. Do we think we have Breaking Bad in the top 10? Do we think it's also going to include Better Call Saul? Is that too much Breaking Bad in the top 10? I think we have it on the list at least. Some people I think like it more than Breaking Bad. Also, Game of Thrones. I think that's a top 10 potential that I still need to watch. House of Cards. It's a popular one. Grey's Anatomy. I like that pick. Mary Tyler Moore. Oh, the Mary Tyler Moore show. Do we think that top 100 is tough? Cheers, yeah. Cheers I could see being. Also, do we think like Leave It to Beaver? I don't know how much older shows we will have. I mean, if it's like the horror movie list, that thing had like over half the list was in like black and white, so. Let's see. The Office. I think if we're doing animated, but not necessarily. I know you said SpongeBob, Matthew. We'll throw it on there. I don't know if they're going to do that kind of animated. I feel like the kid-oriented stuff probably not as likely. I do think The Simpsons and I do think South Park will be here. Also, show I didn't watch ever, but I know Daria is like well beloved. Roseanne. I'm gonna say these aren't gonna be on here, but if they had an anime potential, maybe I just put like a separate category, even like. I don't think they're doing anime at all because it said English based, but if they did, it would be Dragon Ball, it'd be One Piece, it would be Naruto, and like Bleach. Here's where I also wonder too, Avatar, is that technically, is that Western based? because I think it would be well received if it was. What else? I mean, Dexter's gonna be on the list. I don't think Dexter makes top 10. I think Dexter is probably in the like 20 to 25 territory. MASH, that's a good one. That's a good one. How many sitcoms are we thinking? They mentioned Seinfeld. Seinfeld's probably actually, let's put Seinfeld. That's, people love that show. What's the other one? Seinfeld, and then Everybody Loves Raymond, right? Walker, Texas Ranger. Maybe. The 100 aspect of this makes it so I feel like there's a lot of potential. Shows, let's see. Not the last 2 years, but just prior to that. I feel like people love Community. I've never watched it, but Party of Five? I've never even heard of that. I'm down to put it down, but I'm gonna put some question marks on that one. The Office, honestly, I think The Office may have a top 10 potential. Let's put that down there. Is that a show, Rusty? I don't even know if that's a... I've never heard of that show, if it's a show. It is interesting, too, if kids shows are included. Like, even live action stuff. Are we doing, like... I don't know if it would make top 100, but there was, like, All That back in the day. Or, like, Even Stevens. Boy Meets World? Maybe? I mean, that is kids show, but it's like oriented towards adults. Also, King of Queens is my my go-to. Freaks and Geeks is another one that I've mentioned. I think does get included. Stranger Things, probably. Cobra Kai. I'm now bouncing around to Netflix. Oh, what you call it with your kids? Gotcha. Family Guy, yeah, Family Guy. I would agree with that one. There are those like ones that I don't really watch, but they have like a bajillion seasons, like the NCIS. Any of those kind of shows that are constantly on, like cable TV. 13 Reasons Why. I'm gonna say probably not. I won't put it down because I have actually watched it. That's a deep show too. Like the if you watched like the later seasons of that, I'm trying to remember how far I actually watched, because I remember I may have just watched the first 2 seasons, but I watched somebody on YouTube like kind of summarize the plot of some of the later ones. That's a dark show. You got to be like in a good mental state to watch it. But intriguing. Also has I actually thought of that kid today. The kid who plays Wes in Scream 5 is the main character in that. Couldn't get past one episode of it. It's like, I enjoyed watching it because it like stuck with me for a while, but it's a tough watch. Like, you have to be okay with some pretty messed up stuff. Like there's some pretty edgy stuff that they show. I think they intended to make it so it wasn't like glorified. For people that don't know, the show is kind of about a girl who takes her own life, but it gets pretty dark. 911, yeah, those, I think any of those have some potential. Like, those aren't in the top even 50, I would think, but they may be hovering around those like 70 to 80. What else? What's the one with what's his face from Jurassic Park? Is that too new? When did that come out? Also, now I'm thinking Entourage. Outer Banks, sure. What's one I'm thinking? Succession? Is that the name of it? Is that too new? I don't know when that came out. I feel like that's probably too new, but I'm not sure. Like, I think Severance is too new for this list. I think that came out last year. Let me just kind of think of the other streaming services, I guess. How deep are we going to go with this? Because I enjoyed like Yellow Jackets the first season, but is it top 100? Probably not. I'm gonna put some question marks there. All in the Family. We can write that one down. I don't think I know that one either. X-Files, that's a good one. Also, you said X-Files, Black Mirror, and The Twilight Zone. Also Buffy. SWAT. Yeah, any of those like real world shows, I don't think I have much context on. X-Files and Twilight Zone have some potential for top 10 even. What else? Some of the older ones are harder to like determine. Supernatural, sure. Also, Heroes. I really love that show when it was airing. Going back to the sitcoms, I do really like How I Met Your Mother. Do I think it's on this list? I'm not sure. It depends how deep we go in that category. That 70s show. I didn't watch it, but before we canceled the one guy, I feel like people liked it. What were some of those other ones on late? Like the Cheers-esque type of shows. Golden Girls. People love that show. What else? What else? Twin Peaks. Let's do it. What's the other one with Jason Bateman that was on Netflix? What's the name of it? Not The Restaurant. They actually used to have really good deals there back in the day. I don't know if that's still the case, but I like the call out. I think the Ted show is probably too new. I also don't know if I would consider for this list. I think Family Guy is going to be his representation. That's going to be the Seth MacFarlane representation. What's the one with Jason Bateman that's it's pretty like drama oriented? I swear it was on Netflix too. I didn't even watch it, but I can't remember the name of it. Ozark. Yep, that's it. You got it. What else? I really liked The Outsider that he was in, but I don't know if that would make a top 100. The Stephen King adaptation. Andy Griffith, yeah. Let's see. I mean, are my top 10 here that I did previously? Because I did. I mean, we're saying no anime. So then we have Dexter, The Office. Vox Machina is not going to be on here. Maybe Invincible, I guess. It's still like airing, but possibly. Cosby Show, Fresh Prince. Yeah, Fresh Prince. That's a good one. Cosby Show. Arrested Development. Yep. Hammering these now. I'll put it on here. That's another question mark one, though. As somebody who actually watched all 5 seasons, I was like, it's okay. Lost, yeah. Honestly, Lost has potential for top 10. Maybe we hold off for now, but I see some potential for top 10 there. Saved by the Bell. That's a good one. I feel like that was always on TV. Let's see. I think most of my top 10's on here that I think has a chance of being on here. Because then we did How I Met Your Mother, Cobra Kai, Stranger Things, King and Queens. Yeah, Freaks and Geeks. Criminal Minds. It's a good one. That's a good one. In that same category as like the NCIS kind of stuff. I'm kind of just trying to bounce around my head streaming services. Also, what are we gonna say counts? Like, remember, I feel like Making a Murderer was super popular. Also, Squid Game. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't think it would necessarily, but it had 2 seasons, I think. Law and Order, yeah, all those have some chance of being on here. What about Tiger King? Is there any chance that was a show technically, wasn't it? Pretty sure it wasn't a movie. Dallas, good one. Trailer Park Boys, sure. What's up, Soft Love? How you doing? We're gonna look at the list of Variety's top 100 TV shows of all time, and we're now brainstorming. The list is kind of lengthy, so there's stuff that's maybe off the screen, but we're trying to throw out what we expect could be on the list before jumping into it. This kind of, I feel like, also helps calibrate. Was it a good list? Was it a bad list? Is there stuff that's on here that we just couldn't think of, or was it just bad choices? What else? ER. The break from DVD been well. I've been playing still a decent amount. I mean, I was out of town for a few days, but streamed it the other day, a couple days ago, whatever that was. The Mandalorian. Yeah, I could see that. Could see that. Any other Star Wars shows? Also Star Trek. Now I'm thinking about it. That should be a slam dunk. That may even be a top 10. Would they technically have like multiple Star Trek shows? Probably. I'm just gonna say Star Trek for now, though. What else? I'm kind of just trying to bounce between stuff that like I have watched. I don't think From will be on here. We'll give it some potential, but I doubt it. Jeffersons. Okay. Trying to think of 90s shows. Like we talked about Fresh Prince, Prison Break. You got all the I feel like these are all the shows that are on like CBS or like ABC. Like after like a football game, it just shows up. Brady Bunch, yes. That could be a top 10. Sanford and Sons. I don't know if I know that one. Happy Days, yeah, that's when we talked about Cheers earlier. That's what came to mind, honestly. Happy Days. Is it too early to put that in top 10? I kind of feel like there's a chance that's in top 10. We did Boy Meets World up there. I don't know if they'll do it because it's more younger audience oriented, but put it on there at least for now. What else? Anything horror based that would be on the list? I mean, we have like Black Mirror, I guess. We have Twilight Zone, X-Files, Buffy. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, maybe Friday Night Lights, or any of those like football ones. Is Varsity Blues a show or movie? I didn't ever watch it. I'm gonna put it on the list. The Shield, it's a good one. All American. I don't know if I know what that is. We'll put it on here. I don't know how much like documentary stuff they'd have a chance at, because I'm like thinking like Last Chance U. Probably not. Arcane. Good call out. If they do animated stuff, Arcane for sure. Also, how's it going, Aurora? Thanks for hopping in. It's a good poll. I need to finish season 2. I'm actually like 5 or so episodes into it, so I'm a little over halfway, I think. X-Men 97. I like that. Yellowstone. Okay. The Daily Show. Yeah, I'm forgetting these like other shows. Like we did Mr. Rogers. We had Oprah. Would they do Ellen? Do we think Ellen's famous enough? Or is that just like Oprah Part 2? Tales from the Crypt. Yeah. Daredevil or Punisher. I like that. Also, The Walking Dead. How have I not said that yet? Thought of that because the Punisher, John Bernthal. Daredevil. We'll put both of them. I think people like both. The Boys. Yep. I like that one. What else? There's actually more than I expected we'd get on here. I mean, this may be like not remotely on their list, but not bad. What is Z Nation? I've never heard of that show. The Wonder Years, yeah. That's one of those throwback ones. With brother of the kid who's in Boy Meets World, right? The other Savage, not Ben Savage, but the one that's in Princess Bride? Or is Ben Savage the one in Princess Bride? I don't know. There's a couple boys, but good poll there. What else? Any other zombie things? I feel like The Walking Dead is like the big zombie one. Any other superhero ones? We did Supernatural earlier, right? I did Heroes. Malcolm in the Middle. That's a good one. I like that poll. Do we think The Walking Dead has a potential for a top 10? We'll put it down there for now. How much do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. King of the Hill. That's a good one. I think there's actually a decent amount of animated representation here. Naked and Afraid. You think so? Like those survival shows? Also, maybe Survivor, actually. I've actually been watching Survivor. It's been... I've mentioned before that I don't want to say guilty pleasure, but reality show that I do watch quite a bit was Big Brother. And kind of after I've watched most of that at this point, I'm like, let me switch over to Survivor. I don't think Big Brother would make the list. We'll say heavy question mark. Survivor, I think, has a chance. Any other reality shows, though? What about Jersey Shore? I think she actually just came out with some rough news. That part sucks, but I put The Simpsons. I think there's a good chance Simpsons is on here. Saturday Night Live, good poll. Could that be top 10 too? Do we make that our 10th? We'll readjust as we get closer to the top 10, but Moral Oral, what is that? That feels like something that you're trying to like trick me to say. I don't know what show that is. Is that really a show? Apparently it is a show. Huh. Yeah, we can put it on there. The Bachelor, that's a good one. Yeah, I'd never heard of it. The Bachelor / Bachelorette. Big Bang Theory is a good poll. I didn't really like the comedy in the show, but I recognize its popularity. What other reality show potential? We have Jersey Shore, we have The Bachelor. Yeah, I don't know what else. I'm thinking of something where, like, didn't Trump have a show like where he fired people? Something in that realm, I feel like, is potentially out there. You're on Adult Swim. It got canceled for going too dark. Fair. Also, Primal? I'm gonna hope maybe. Maybe not, but it really depends how much we like. If I think the first cartoon I see, I'm gonna kind of reevaluate. Like if I see like Powerpuff Girls or Dexter's Lab or something on here, or Samurai Jack, I'm gonna be like, okay, we need to revisit a little bit. Doctor Who, like that one. Dawson's Creek. Is that the show? One of the girls in Saw 2 was on some show that I didn't watch. The blonde girl who just like dies in the stairwell from the gas. Is Dawson's Creek what she was on? What else? Probably give it another like 10 minutes of brainstorming and then we'll jump into the list. There probably will be something like when we did the games one and we got to like near the end and I saw Disco Elysium. I'm like, how did I not think of that? Did the write a screen work on Dawson? Maybe. Kevin Williamson, right? I do not know. The Apprentice. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of earlier. Like something in that realm. I don't know. given changes in society, I don't know if they would include it. Maybe they would have in the past, but what am I gonna watch or play for Scream 7 or Resident Evil Requiem? That's a good question. I think the likely answer is Scream 7 because I at least mostly plan to go see that in theaters, whereas Requiem, I at least wasn't planning on buying it at release. I know when I was talking about it with Rusty and one of my friends, may have been just yesterday, I was like, it would be kind of fun to do, but I don't buy a whole lot of stuff at launch. So probably Scream, but you never know. Shogun? Okay. Which Doctor Who? Are there 2 Doctor Who's? Also, what about House? I didn't watch that, but I remember that dude. What else? Did we get Buffy? Yeah, I threw Buffy on there. Fallout's too new, I think. So I guess to clarify, we mentioned at the beginning, this list came out in December of 23. So it's a couple years old, so I don't think even the first season of Fallout was out by that point. Sabrina, it's a good poll. I like that one. Are there any other mobster shows? We have Sopranos down here, but like also The Wire. Anything else that's kind of in that realm? I feel like those typically do well, like the Goodfellas-esque Godfather kind of things. Blossom? I've never heard of that one either. Unless we're talking about Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls. Let me see what Blossom is. This looks like very like Clarissa Explains It All kind of. Also, could that be on the list? Maybe. It does once again depend on if we're doing kid-esque shows. I'm gonna write down all that. I don't think it's gonna be on there, but what if we tip you until you buy that damn game? I appreciate the generosity. I don't want to take away from you guys, but I appreciate the idea of it. Maybe I'll be convinced into grabbing. We'll see, but it wasn't originally my intention. Scooby-Doo. I think if we're doing animated, Scooby-Doo does deserve to be on there. Transformers, I don't think is going to be. Did you guys watch Beast Wars? That was like my go-to Transformers show back in the day. Yeah, what's up, Lone Wolf? You were in time. We are going to be doing the top 100 shows, and we're doing the heavy brainstorming session right now where we're just listing what we expect to see, and then we'll jump into the list. So we've not started yet, technically. Vampire Diaries? Sure, maybe. I think the stuff between like 50 and 100 is going to be a little bit unknown to me. Isn't there a show called Atlanta? What's up, Chris? Oh, nice. You got your Dexter Resurrection. I think you mentioned that the other day, didn't you? Because I was like, I don't know if I plan to watch it again before season 2 or not. Death Note. Wouldn't that more so qualify as anime? Because I mentioned at the top, I don't think they're doing anime. They said they're doing like English based stuff, but I'm like, well, technically there's dubs. Does that count? But I'm assuming not. And I know the live action Death Note people didn't love. Lost, You, Dexter, Severance. Severance I thought about, but I think that's too new because that didn't come out until after. Like that was a 2024 thing at least, right? I feel like it's too new for that. Most of like the Apple TV stuff, I feel like. Also, actually, Ted Lasso, maybe. I'm thinking of Apple TV stuff. What else? There is so much like. I'm kind of surprised how many options there are. When I plan to do this, I'm like, this is going to be so much easier than movies. There's like such a reduced list. The classics are pretty well known, but I don't know. No, so this is all-time TV shows, just up until the end of 2023, because that's when the list came out. But it's greatest shows from the beginning of time until 2023. We do have Supernatural on here somewhere on this lengthy journey. Right there. Oh, anything else? I think we covered a lot of animated stuff. I don't think there's anything really missing there. Maybe we just jump into it if you guys are good with it. We'll give it maybe another like 5 minutes. Get any last minute thoughts out, but I think we'll probably jump in. Also, looking at the top 10, these 6 I feel good about, probably even 7. Happy Days, I'm not sure if that makes top 10. Same with Walking Dead. Saturday Night Live, I think, has a better chance than these 2, actually. But I think directionally, that's probably okay. I think they should be all top like 25, I would guess. The whole Better Call Saul part, I'm not sure, because that is a really beloved franchise, but are they going to double dip on Breaking Bad that high? Don't know. All right, I'll maybe step away for a second, and I will allow folks to get any last minute thoughts in. House MD, is that different than House? I did write House down, like the is he British? The British dude. But I'll quickly step away and share any last thoughts you guys have, and I will jump into the list after that. All right, be right back. Let me pause music. right back. One I did just think of was Orange is the New Black. I feel like was one that people loved. I didn't ever watch it, but that was like one of the first Netflix hits, wasn't it? Hannibal? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a solid pick. We have Sopranos. What do I think of Predator Badlands? I liked it. Actually, Chris, I did a review on it if you want to check it out on the channel, but I enjoyed it. I don't know how well it performed, but I had a good time with it. All right. Modern Family. Yeah, good call. If we're doing sitcoms, that's definitely on there. Also, what's the other one? Curb Your Enthusiasm. What is Cougar Town? That sounds like a different kind of show, Matthew. I don't know. Maybe it's a popular one. I don't know. I didn't watch FNAF 2, Chris. I actually didn't even watch the first one. I kind of debated it, but it didn't seem like it was the most well received. So I, for now, have passed on it. But maybe I'll check it out in the future. Has Courtney Cox? Okay. Well, maybe then, if you got somebody of that caliber. All right, let's jump in a list, and we'll revisit this as we go. Keeping in mind, kind of judging these as well. So let us see. You got the Predator Badlands on 4K Ultra. Nice. That's a good. That and Killer of Killers. I feel like Predator's in a good spot right now. All right, here we go. We're jumping in. Here's all the culprits who made this list, apparently. Community. Okay. Kind of talked about that. Also, I'm now thinking of let me go back to my notepad. What's the show where Kristen Bell dies and she's like a bad person? The Good Place. I kind of talked myself through that. And she's like being pitched as like she was a good person. Community, we did talk about this one. Makes sense being here. I haven't watched it, but it's kind of in that category of reoccurring seasons of a show that people have enjoyed. I think I would probably find it funny. It probably is on Peacock, which I do have now, so I'll probably check it out at some point. Have you guys watched Community? Do you like it? I know some of the actors. Isn't this McHale right here? Let's say. Isn't this Sydney's husband? Sydney Prescott's husband? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's him right there. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We did not say that, so I'll throw it on the list. Yeah, feel free if you guys think of something as we go along. If we haven't seen it yet, definitely can mention it. All right, what's next? Hannibal. You guys talked about this one. Who came in? Lone Wolf. Yeah, you mentioned this one. Good call out for that one. I've not watched the show. Also, now I'm thinking of, I'm going to throw it on there. Mindhunter. I have watched that. It's kind of similar, I'm assuming. Yeah, Sydney Evans. That's so, I mean, it makes sense. She got married. People generally switch their last names, but it's going to take getting used to. You got the FNAF 2 on Blu-ray and Sisu on Blu-ray. I never saw Sisu. Trying to remember. I think I watched Rusty's review of that one. I thought the trailer looked very like there's not much of plot. It's just kind of like Mad Max chaos happening. CSI Miami. I wrote down CSI, I think. If I didn't, that was a mistake. Did we actually not? I have NCIS. I don't know if we wrote down CSI. But yes. For sure. Have you guys watched Hannibal? I kind of wanted to go back and watch the movies and potentially the show. I believe they actor swapped. What's her name though from Silence of the Lambs? So I don't know how big of a deal that is. But I do like Mads Mikkelsen, so maybe I'll check out Hannibal at some point. It's on also probably Peacock. I'm assuming NBC is going to equate to Peacock. Yeah, I mean, I like him as an actor, so imagine it could be decent. Been a while. What am I watching again? Solid. That's kind of the point they said at the top of this list. They're like, hey, we're going to pick the classics that you probably know, and we may introduce you to something, which this, I already knew about this. So the first two the shows I've heard of, which is probably a good sign. Homeland. Okay. This is kind of one of those, I guess it's on Showtime. I kind of associate it more with like daytime TV stuff, but also now I'm thinking of that. Do we think Judge Judy would be on here? It did say all kinds of shows. I'm gonna throw that on the list. Or not Maury, but who's the other dude? What's his name? Jerry Springer. Do we think there's any chance that's on this list? I don't know. But Homeland I have not watched. I don't know if I realized it was on Showtime. Maybe I'll check it out. I've heard of it obviously, but I don't know it. Yeah, I Love Lucy, I think for sure. That one we currently have slotted as a potential top 10. 24, that's a good one. Yeah, good call. All I think of is like the ticking clock. I may have used that noise even for a short before. You got Silent Night, Deadly Night on 4K. Damn, you got a collection growing. I didn't wind up watching that one, but I think I heard pretty good feedback. No, I haven't checked it out, but it seemed like most people had a good time with it. All right, Top Chef. Okay, here's where we're branching out from like traditional TV, and we're doing more of these shows where it's like competitions. I'm trying to think of, do we think like the Great British Baking Show? I feel like people love that stuff. I'm gonna write it down. But Top Chef, I'm also thinking of anything with like Gordon Ramsay, like Kitchen Nightmares or Hell's Kitchen or Guy Fieri. Maybe this is a representation of that though with Top Chef. I have not watched it. I've heard of it, but you think they are going to be on here? I honestly, there was a time where I never really watched them, but we were staying with a friend and they had their TV on where it had like the free channels that were through, I think it was like a Samsung, and Kitchen Nightmares was on, and we like binged the hell, like very unintentionally binged that so hard. Just because it's interesting, it's funny, kind of heartwarming when they like redeem themselves. Sometimes they actually just duke it out though. Shark Tank, yeah, it's a good one. Throw that on there. Fear Factor. Yeah, Fear Factor for sure. I mean, it's where Joe Rogan started off. I used to watch that show all the time. Like the second phase of that show was always the worst because that's when they were like either laying in like scorpions or like eating scorpions. But yeah, I think that's a good chance to be on there. Also, I'm thinking of MTV shows now. Do we think like Jackass? I personally was a big Viva La Bam fan, but I don't think that's going to be on there. I think Jackass or like a CKY option. What else was on MTV back in the day? Was it called The Hills? I'm trying to think of those, like, what was Paris Hilton on? I guess Ridiculousness, maybe that's like modern MTV. Jackass possible, yeah. What's the other dude that also got canceled from his show? The ones where they do pranks. Impractical Jokers, is that the name of it? What else? Not The Hill. What's the other one that like back in the day? I'm pretty sure that it's the name of a location. Oh, the OC. That's what I was thinking of. Shameless. Let's do it. Throw it on the list. All right, so we are growing the list as we go along here. All right, 96. The Good Fight. Never heard of it. It's on Paramount. What is it even about? 1 year after its progenitor series, The Good Wife, starring Jillian McGillis, ended on CBS. Okay. Interesting. I've never even heard of this one, so maybe worth checking out. Also, I'm now thinking of, I don't know if they would do it. I personally really enjoyed it, but Banshee was great with Anthony Starr. I think this is maybe, in my opinion, the first L. I think so far, I mean, Top Chef is debatable, I guess, too, actually. Yeah. All right, so we're about like a 3 out of 5 thus far. Disappointing ending. That's not a great endorsement. Wait, this is... So there's 2 different shows. There's The Good Wife and there's The Good Fight. So this is like the spin-off series. Oh, saw the next one too. Black Mirror. I approve of this choice. Honestly, Black Mirror should be higher. But yeah, have you guys watched The Good Fight at all? It's not one I'm familiar with. The Bear. Yeah, how many seasons are they into that now? Would that be late enough? But Black Mirror, I approve of this choice. Honestly, even their latest season, I've watched 2 of the episodes. Both were good in different ways. I highly recommend Black Mirror, especially for this audience who likes horror and sci-fi stuff. 4 seasons? Yeah, well, could be on here then. Peaky Blinders? Yeah, that's probably on here too. You're right. You're right. Also, I'm now thinking of Mad Men. That's probably a top 10, actually. Jeez. I never watched it, but I know people love that show. That has some top 10 potential. Shrinking? Maybe. That one feels like maybe too new, but I'll include it. But here's Black Mirror. I'm a little bit torn here because I think it's great. It's on the list. I think it should be like a lower entry. Black Mirror to me sits around like maybe like a 40, probably. Like it's pretty much a modern Twilight Zone. But yeah, I think I've only watched 2 of the latest season's episodes, and they were great in different ways. One was like a heartfelt way, and one is like a wow, everything is effed type of way. So they do a good job at incorporating technology into like unfortunate situations. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Black Mirror. Ghost Whisperer? I've not heard of that one, but we'll keep an eye out for it. I May Destroy You. I've not heard of this. It's on HBO. Oh, also, when did The Penguin come out? Was that after 2023? People love that show, but that feels like that could have been a 2024 show. We'll see. Far? Is that a show? Far? I May Destroy You. Let's see what this is about. Look at trauma. Okay. Well, it feels like it's a little bit more of a, I don't want to say depressing, but like a lower energy type of thing, but may tell a good story. Penguins 2024? Yeah, we'll take it off then. I thought it was too new. What's been on the list so far? We have I May Destroy You, which I'm not familiar with. Black Mirror, The Good Fight, Top Chef, Homeland, Hannibal, and Community. I don't know if I would have put these in the same order. I feel like Community, while I haven't seen it, what I've heard of it feels like it should be higher. Yeah, we have the Twilight Zone on here. I think that's going to be pretty high on the list, I would guess. Yeah, not familiar with this one, so I don't want to say it's like not a good choice, but I feel like they didn't promote it well enough, maybe. That's like during pandemic too. Okay. Will and Grace. I don't think we named this one, but we should have. It's very stereotypical, like on TV for multiple seasons. Not one I watched, but I've heard it mentioned a ton. So I think it's fine here at 93. Let's keep it going. Saint Elsewhere. Okay, this came out in the 80s, which is maybe explaining how I'm not familiar with it, but what's the point of this one? Hospital drama? Okay. Sounds like a hospital-themed drama show with the plots that they're jumping into here. I don't think I've even heard of this show, though. So, interesting. Not one I probably would have included because of that, but I also wasn't watching shows in the 80s, in fairness. So, here we go. Daria. This is one I thought, if we're doing animated shows, this fits, like, I don't know, like, oh, Beavis and Butthead's talking about right here, actually. That also is going to be on the list. I'm going to write that down now at this point. There's a lot more animated stuff than I expected. But yeah, I never watched Daria. It does feel like it's very, like, well received, though. Like, it's a coming of age a bit for your main character here. Daria. Yeah, we had Daria on the list, though. If I can go back somewhere up here. I think I put it pretty high, actually. Yeah, right here. I think it may be the first thing that got me down the animated path, but Johnny Bravo. See, I don't know if we're doing Cartoon Network, like, heavy stuff, because if we are, there's going to be a ton. But I'm not convinced that they're not doing, like, things animated. I think will be on here. Daria, obviously, South Park, Simpsons, Family Guy. But I don't know if we're doing, like, Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, Scooby-Doo. That stuff feels like it's a different level a little bit. But yeah, Daria makes sense on the list. I didn't really watch it, but I know it's, like, super well loved. I'm also thinking now, like, Recess. I think the art style can make me think of that, but that may be also more kid-oriented. All right, let's keep going. The Cosby Show. We talked about this one. Probably has a bit of a stain on it these days, but you can't deny that it was really popular for the time. So, makes sense. Next up, Mr. Rogers. Yep. Honestly, I'm surprised this isn't higher. I thought this was, like, top 30. I watched a little bit of it, but it was, like, so well known. Like, everyone knows Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. With, like, the train coming around and that kind of stuff. So I'm surprised it's not higher on the list. He was like the Steve from Blue's Clues before Steve, I feel like. And much more impactful. But that checks out. General Hospital. Okay, a lot of hospital-themed dramas here. But this one makes sense again. Long-running show, as you can tell, obviously. I think it makes sense to be on the list. It's not one I would have had on my list, but it being here is fair. All right, 87. Happy Days. Okay. Well, I had Happy Days in our top 10, so that's officially coming out. It was on the list, but I thought there was potential for a top 10 there. We'll have to reevaluate when we get to top 10 to see what should take its place. There's a lot that I feel like could take its place. But makes sense it's here. Just thought maybe it would have been a little bit higher. Okay, next up. Girls. Do I know this one? I don't think I know this one. Oh, Sex and the City actually is. They mentioned it there, but that's definitely on our list. But Girls, I would not have thought of. Never seen Happy Days. I mean, it's a little bit dated now, right? Because it's 70s and 80s, but for the time, I feel like people loved it. I mean, you have the Fonz. He's like an icon at this point with Henry Winkler. But girls, huh? A lot of these HBO ones I feel like go under the radar for me. Which we do have HBO, so... I don't know if I... Let's see what it's saying about the plot. Get enough of an idea what the plot's about. Does anyone watch this? I don't think I am familiar. Family Matters. Yeah. I'll throw that on there. That wouldn't make sense. All right, next up. Columbo. I don't know this one. Is this where I talked about we should have more like mobster things? That's kind of giving that vibe. Like we're being a detective here. Also, really odd timing. 71 to 78, then 89 to 2003. I assume different cast at that point. At least some of them, you would think. Feels like some detective type of show. It's Always Sunny. Yeah, how did I forget about that one? That's such a good one. I actually even have a hat of that over, I think, on my shelf. It's Always Sunny for sure. Also American Horror Story, now that I'm on that FX train. But yeah, I don't know this show at all, so I don't know if I would have included it. Kind of not the best choice for me, but I guess Dick Van Dyke is pretty famous. We do have Dawson's Creek. Okay, next up, Atlanta. I did write it down. I wrote it down, so that makes sense. I haven't really watched it myself, but I feel like I've heard it a ton on TV, so that's why I threw it down on the list. All right, let's see after that. Stranger Things. Okay. This was obviously before season 5 came out, so there was only 1 through 4 at the time. 83, if you gave me seasons 1 through 4, I mean, I have it in my top 10. At least I had it before I did season 5. So 83 feels pretty low. I think I would probably put it a little bit higher, given like the impact and stuff like that. Glad to see it on the list, but you would think like top 30 at least. I would have thought, but we'll see what else is out on the list. Fleabag. I was actually thinking of this show and I was like, what's the name of that one? Fleabag. This is like the similar to Dexter thing, right? No. I'm thinking of... Is it Fleabag? Or no, is Fleabag the one that... What's the one that's similar to Dexter? Fleabag is like the more raunchy show, I think. If I remember, I think I watched one episode of it because I heard really great things when we had Prime for like a month. What's the one I'm thinking of that's like... Let's look up her name. Sweet Pea, that's what I was thinking of. Fleabag, yeah, Fleabag is different. Fleabag is the... As I said, it's more like raunchy type of show in comparison to some other stuff. But I watched like episode 1 when we had Prime because I was like, maybe I'll check it out. It's probably worth continuing, I'll say. Power? I don't think I've heard of Power. But Fleabag, I think it makes sense. People do seem to really enjoy it, and I probably would have liked it if I kept watching it, I will say. Doctor Who, The Shield, we both have. Bates Motel, I don't have. I'll include that one. $30-something. I don't think I know this one. A lot of these 80s shows I'm not picking up on. Okay. Is it like a coming of age thing for like a older generation, probably? About introspection. Yeah, it's kind of giving that impression. May be good. Haven't watched it though. Scandal. I don't think I know this one either. Okay, so it's a chick from Grey's Anatomy, it sounds like. Okay, so some kind of affair. Is that the Scandal, presumably? I don't know it, but maybe worth checking out. If you like political dramas, at least. All right, next up, 79. The Muppet Show. Okay. Not one that was on my radar, but I think it makes sense. The Muppets are pretty well loved. Is that Steve Martin also? I don't know if I knew Steve Martin was involved with the Muppets. The Rookie? I mean, the date would count. I don't know if I know much about The Rookie. I know the movie The Rookie, like the baseball movie. But yeah, this one checks out. Very nostalgic for people. Dallas. I think Rusty said this one. Makes sense, it's on here. That one I watched once again. So far, pretty diverse stuff, but I haven't really jumped into too much of it myself. The Daily Show. We did say that, I believe. I think Rusty may have also said that one. Maybe? I thought we said The Daily Show. Yes, we did. Which, Colbert came on after The Daily Show, so that could be an option, potentially. But checks out, if we do some of these daytime shows, this makes sense to include. Arrow? Maybe. I've not watched it myself. I know it's... I feel like Arrow's probably beneath, like, Punisher, Daredevil, but I'll include it on here. What's that other show, too, now I'm thinking of? The FX animated show. You said Arrow made me think of it. What is the name of that show? Archer. That's what I was thinking of. I'm gonna put down the list too. Okay. All right. Daily Show, I said, makes sense. This spot probably works too. Late 70s. Fresh Prince. Also makes sense. Maybe should be a little bit higher. Although Will Smith is not my favorite these days, but it's a classic. So I think this probably could have been like in the 50s maybe, so at least like 20 spots higher. Just because of the impact. I mean, people love the song, like the opening song for it. The Flash. I mean, we really canceled him, right? I would say The Flash probably comes... I'll put it on the list, but I'll say that probably comes after Daredevil or The Punisher. So Fresh Prince works for the list, probably should be higher. Taxi. Okay. Not one that I watched, but I think I'm familiar with it for the most part. Where's Danny DeVito? He's just not in the picture, I guess. So not one that I would endorse as being here, but I also, going back to my earlier comment, late 70s, early 80s, not really a time period for me. Jessica Jones. Maybe. That feels like maybe, I don't know, not enough time to have it be on here, but I will gladly be proven wrong. Deadwood. This one checks out. Another HBO show I haven't watched, but I've heard of it, obviously. Yeah. The Taxi, the movie with De Niro. That's one I think of as well. I didn't watch Deadwood. I normally see Timothy Olyphant's name associated with it. Shout out to another Scream character, Mickey. 74, I'm okay with it. I don't have much impact or like input on it. But it being here, I think it's okay. All right, next up, NYPD Blue. Okay, so we are getting into the the real life cop shows. I don't think we had this one down with all the ones we wrote down. I don't think we wrote down NYPD Blue. We had like everything else, like 911 and all that stuff. So, okay. Maybe not the one I would have included, but it's fine. 72. The Wonder Years. We talked about this one. Yep, Fred Savage. I enjoyed it when I was younger. I haven't watched it in a long time. But similar coming of age type of story. Living Single. Don't know this one. 90s TV show. Okay. It's got Queen Latifah. Yep. A lot of these like descriptions like spoil some of the rest of the list. It's like Friends before Friends. It's like, well, obviously Friends is going to enlist. I mean, we kind of knew that already, but Stuck in the Middle. I'm assuming not, but as I said, I'm gladly proven wrong for anything that does show up here. Also thinking of other stuff. We talked about Mandalorian. I know people were like Loki. That maybe not a great pick, but like something in that kind of area as well, I think is possible. The People vs. O.J. Simpson. Okay. Fair enough. I don't know if I knew this was a show. 2016. I feel like we tell this story so many times in so many different ways. Yeah, we had Malcolm in the Middle. I think Matthew mentioned that one. But okay, we have an O.J. Simpson TV show. Fine. All right, next up. Roseanne. Dang, this is one I should have thought of. This one makes sense to include. It's kind of in that same realm of like the Happy Days or Golden Girls or any of those kind of that era of shows. So yeah, not one I really watch, but I obviously hear the name a ton, so people must like it. Grey's Anatomy, we did have that on there. The other once thought of love interest for Sidney Prescott, that is not the case at this point. RuPaul's Drag Race. Okay. I mean, it's probably fair to get some diversity. It's more of a common or more of a current show. Would I say necessarily needs to be in top 100? Probably not, but it's probably not a show for me necessarily also. So some extra inclusion. Gotten a couple MTV so far. Some interested to see if they do like more of that going forward. Oh, Ray Donovan. Yeah, that could be. I really wanted to like Ray Donovan. That aired right after Dexter ended originally. So I watched like episode 1 and I was like, I didn't really get pulled into it, but we can throw it on the list. At least until I purge the list once we get towards the end. Yeah, we have Arrested Development. Do have that one. All right, next up, The Bob Newhart Show. Don't know this one at all. I'm assuming... no, it's not. I thought it would maybe have been like a daily show kind of thing, but it feels like it actually was a show with like a plot to it. A comedy. I'm not familiar with the show at all. The Bob Newhart Show. Maybe it's funny, but I don't know if it makes sense to be number 66 all time, is my thoughts. All right, 65. Freaks and Geeks. It's one I had on there. I thought it'd be here somewhere. I have it a little bit higher on my own personal list, but 65 is okay. So many famous people that we know, like today. We have Pamela Voorhees right here. We have, I guess, what's that show he's in on Apple TV? Not The Bear, but also like a One More Thing Studio. I think that's what it is. He kind of got canceled a little bit. Jason Segel was like the funniest guy there for a while to me. Married with Children. Could be. What's the other show that he's in that's older too? Did we already name that one? Yeah, Freaks and Geeks. awesome inclusion. They also are definitely hinting at more other shows here, but only lasted one season. Was kind of a cult classic. I didn't watch it when it came out. I watched it like years later when I heard it was like worth checking out. I think I've heard they gave it a really bad time slot, which kind of doomed its fate. So that makes sense. All right, next up, The Jeffersons. Had this one on there. I think maybe Rusty wrote that one down. We don't have Scrubs, actually. That's a good pull. I think that's a good inclusion. Jeffersons, this makes sense. Popular show from that era. I think this works. Angels in America. I've never heard. What is it with HBO and their marketing? I've never heard of this show. What is this about? There's a lot of shows about AIDS, it feels like, in some of the descriptions. Okay. Have you guys watched this? I don't know if it's worth checking out or not. It was kind of making me think of that show Evil on Netflix for a second, but not quite. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of somewhat obscure HBO shows that we've gotten thus far. Probably not one I would include, but may just not be for me. The Comeback. Okay, never heard of this. Another HBO, checks out. It's obviously the girl from Friends, right? Lisa Kudrow. Don't know anything about this one. Reba, like for her like daily show, you're saying? Maybe. I don't know how many of those we're honestly going to get going forward. I feel like we're going to start getting into like the serious dramas as we approach like top 50 and stuff. I don't know if I would have picked this one, but just my thoughts. Orange is the New Black. Yep, I threw this one on at the last second. Never watched it, but I always heard about it being like, I feel like it was Netflix's like first go-to. So I think it makes sense to be on the list. Maybe I'll watch it at some point. The Blacklist. That's definitely one I feel like I hear mentioned with like football games when it's like, hey, check out the Blacklist after the game. But that could be on there too. In Living Color. Don't know this one, I don't think. I don't know if anyone mentioned this one. Fox's answer to Saturday Night Live. Did not last very long, Fox, it seems like. Okay, that Jim Carrey, J-Lo, and Jamie Foxx. Okay. And Wayans members. Decent stardom there. I don't really know it though. 60, maybe not. Maybe on the list, but maybe not that high. South Park. Yep, we had this one down. Getting back into the animated side of things. I think at one point South Park would have been a top 10 show for me. I haven't watched pretty much any of it since like the whole pandemic special movie they did. I feel like some of the comedy started to go downhill a little bit, but it's still obviously iconic for a reason. For anyone who watched it, who's your favorite South Park character? I think Stan is always my favorite, just because I feel like I related the most to him. He was the most just kind of chill. Chernobyl, I don't think we do. I don't remember writing it down at least, so I'm gonna put it on there. Kenny's your favorite? That's cool. Kenny doesn't like say anything though. He's actually probably the most chill now I'm thinking about it. He did die a lot. There's that. I feel like for a while there they had him die in every episode, then they just stopped doing that for some reason. It was like a bit they had there for a while. But Kenny's cool. All right, next up. Also, is there anything else that Matt Stone and Trey Parker would make that would be on here? Probably not. I mean, they have like plays and stuff. I don't think TV show wise. The Good Place. This is one I threw on a little bit later. Kristen Bell here, where she is dead and goes to like heaven or whatever, or like purgatory, some kind of like positive place where she's actually meant to have gone to hell because she was like a bad person. I watched like a few episodes. It was funny. Probably should jump back into it. So 58. It's honestly probably a little higher than I would have thought, but I think it's fair to be here. So yeah, pretty good show. I would say check it out if you're interested, if you like her and other stuff too. My Name is Earl. Maybe. Is that the one with what's his name from Boy Meets World and Remember the Titans and The Butterfly Effect, and I'm gonna name everything else. Ethan Suplee. Is that the show with him? He's also in some other show that I think has a chance of being on here. Randy is also cool. Randy is hilarious. I feel like he brings like the very heavy comedic relief. Yeah, good place, worth checking out. I would say 58, it works. Chappelle's Show. Should have thought of this one. Definitely should have thought of this one. So not a traditional show once again. It's more of a comedy show where he has like skits and stuff, but classic. I feel like he's gotten a little bit, all these people I feel like get canceled over time. But back in the day, Chappelle was like the funniest dude. Also had a nice cameo, not really, he was actually appearance in Blue Streak, that movie. So he was so funny. Only 3 or 4 years. I thought it would have been longer, but okay. I guess he does more stand-up now these days. All right, next up, Law and Order SVU. This was obvious at this point. I feel like this guy is like the detective in every, he's like the partner in every show. He just looks like the most stereotypical, like, I'm your partner. But not a show I watch. I know it's popular, obviously. I think, Matthew, I think you're a big fan of these typically. So 56, I think it's fine. I don't want to see a ton more of these, though. Like, I feel like having RuPaul and stuff like that is to show diversity. So let's not have too many more of the, like, detective cracking the case shows. BoJack Horseman. I didn't think of this one, but it, you know what? I think it's okay. I've not watched it myself, but seen like references all the time. Also, I'm now thinking Futurama, maybe. If we are doing more animated stuff. But BoJack, okay. Not bad. Gilmore Girls. Did we say this one? I think we should have. If we didn't, then that was a miss. Let me see if we did. We did not. Wow. Well, yeah, this one makes sense to be on the list. Not one I watched once again, but obviously famous and stuff like that. Not a fan of BoJack. Like the comedy, you don't think is that great. Some of that stuff is like hit or miss. Like old school Family Guy, I really enjoyed. But then every joke turned into like a, "Hey Lois, remember that time?" And then it'd be like a flashback. So it kind of got repetitive. Comedy, especially, I feel like is probably hit or miss for a lot of people. Like it either hits for you or it doesn't. Yeah, but yeah, Gilmore Girls makes sense being on here. Probably around the right spot too. 6 Feet Under. There's another. This is Dexter Morgan, right? This is Michael C. Hall, I believe. Is that him right there? I have not watched HBO once again, lacking in their marketing. I've not watched it. I know the show, obviously, but maybe at some point I'll check it out. Yeah, we had Golden Girls on there, not Gilmore. Find it too dry. That's fair. Sometimes, like I've talked about before, somebody like a Will Ferrell, like in small doses, I can tolerate that, but too much is like excessive. So certain things just don't hit for people's like humor style for sure. But yeah, I haven't watched this. I've heard pretty good things for the most part, but I just never jumped into it. Maybe at some point I will. Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. That makes sense. For doing more daily show stuff, this is one to include. I don't know if we'll have too many more. Who else do we have? Like Leno, Letterman, Kimmel, Fallon. Are we going to really do all those people? I hope not. I think there's potential for Letterman. I'm going to put that one actually down though. But the other ones I don't think should be on here. But Johnny Carson, iconic. So fine. 52, maybe it's a little bit too high. But it was, I mean, that's a look at that runtime, 30 years, dang. I think it's probably okay. Arrested Development, we did talk about this one. Makes sense. Probably a lot of famous people at this point in this show too. I mean, these two already recognize. 51, I think that works. Not a fan of Fallon. I think he's the most common one today though, right? Like, I think he's probably watched more than Kimmel. And those are really the only two that I can think of as far as like late night shows on like cable TV, at least. All right, top 50. Let me take a quick break and we'll look maybe back at our list and see if we can narrow things down. Be right back. We are back. Appreciate the patience. So music back on. All right, let's look at our list and recalibrate before we jump into the top 50 here. We won't waste too much time doing this, but once Kimmel and Fallon both start adding. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to avoid that in today's time, it feels like. All right, so top 50 at this point. Let's see what we got. I don't think we're doing any anime at this point, so we'll take that out. These two were mentioned, so we had them on here. We had Mr. Rogers already. We had Grey's Anatomy, I think. I don't think we're doing SpongeBob. Had South Park, and actually we had all the... We did write Roseanne down, okay. Community. Had Freaks and Geeks and Stranger Things. I'd be surprised if Cobra Kai is higher than Stranger Things, but it feels like if we're going to include it, it's going to have to be. But maybe it won't even be on there. I don't think Yellow Jackets at this point. We had Black Mirror. I don't know if I know SWAT. I think I'm going to take that one off because we already have had a few of those type of shows. Probably not Invincible at this point. I would like it to be on there, but maybe we'll keep it for the next little bit. But I don't think it's going to be probably the case. No Cosby anymore. No Fresh Prince anymore. Arrested Development. I don't think You makes the list. I don't think Making a Murder makes the list. We did Law and Order. Oh, we did have it written down. Just not, I guess, specific beyond that. We had Dallas. I doubt From makes the list at this point. Had Jeffersons. I don't think Last Chance U. Probably not even this one. Did The Daily Show. Had The Wonder Years. I don't think that's going to be on there now. Probably not Primal at this point. Okay. Orange is the New Black and Hannibal. We had both of those. Had Atlanta. Had The Good Place. I don't think this is gonna be on there now. Had Happy Days surprisingly already. All right, I think directionally we kind of clear things up. There's a lot of we have more than 50 shows listed here, so there's a lot of options, and they're probably gonna not pick ones that we even had for all these, so we'll see. Cobra Kai had the better finale than Stranger Things, to be honest. Yeah, I would agree. They both kind of played it safe, I will say, and like appeased fans. They just did it differently. Their ending for Silver, and like that whole boat scene was wild. I will say that was a bit of a wild take, but I'd say they're probably comparable to me a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit better. Some of it was a little bit too wrapped up in a bow also, though, where it's like, so-and-so went off to college, so-and-so found this marketing deal with this company. It's like, okay, why would you have gotten that deal? I don't know. Riverdale, you don't like it? We shall see. I did not watch it, so I cannot chime in, but we'll see. We'll see if it's on here. All right, top 50. Here we go. My So-Called Life. Did we write that down? I don't feel like we did. Also, I'm seeing this, and I'm assuming this is going to be on there too, because that name I do recognize. It's only one season, okay? Kind of feels like it's a bit of a Freaks and Geeks, where it's like one season, it's like a coming of age kind of thing. Maybe worth checking out. I don't mind considering that one. Euphoria. I've not watched it, but I've obviously heard of it, so I feel like there's a chance for that one. All right, 49. Watchmen. We didn't even have this on here. I mean, when I talked about like other HBO stuff, I mentioned like Penguin that came out in 2024, you guys said. But Watchmen was not on my radar. I have not watched it, no pun intended, but I watched the movie. Movie was pretty good. I liked Rorschach in that. But I didn't watch the TV show. Also, was it only one season? Did it get canceled or did it just stop? That I don't know. Was it only supposed to be a season? Maybe I'll watch it at some point then. 49 is pretty respectable, so you would think it's decent. All right, 48, The Shield. You guys talked about this one. That one makes sense. 48 is probably fair. So. Also keeps talking about these other shows where I'm like, you better not have these on the list because that's like spoiling it way too much. Friday Night Lights. I threw this one on there. I'm like, we got to have some sports themed thing. I think people like this more than like the movie. The one that had Billy Bob Thornton, I think, in it. Never watched the show, but heard great things. Also, it's got Jesse Plemons and Michael B. Jordan. Huh. Jesse Plemons is in like everything nowadays. I feel like I first associated him with you're gonna probably laugh, but Like Mike, he's the bully in that movie. And then obviously he was in Breaking Bad, but he's in like everything movie wise nowadays. He's good, so I think he earns it, but he's actually probably has the most representation on his list potentially because he was in Black Mirror. He's gonna be in Breaking Bad that we're gonna see upcoming. So he's got some good coverage here. Watchmen wasn't canceled, rather ended after one season because creator Damon Lindelof told the story he intended to tell, didn't want to return for a second season. Okay. As long as there's like a complete ending, I can like accept that. And I will consider watching it if there's like a conclusion to it. Anything with like a cliffhanger is like, oh, which makes me think of Heels, which would be awesome if that's on this list, but probably not because we're at 46 at this point. But that show has like the worst cliffhanger ever. Maybe they'll continue it at some point, but running out of time to do that. All right, 46. The Leftovers. This is a show they mentioned in the description that I wasn't really aware of. I've heard the name before, but another poorly marketed HBO show, it seems like. We do have Good Doctor on here. Empire? Maybe. Could be. What is this really about? Okay, Grief and Departure. Interesting. Coping with Grief. Okay. Well, maybe I'll check it out at some point. I probably should just look at all of the HBO shows and be like, which ones are good, because I have not heard enough about them. All right, 45, Dick Van Dyke Show. I don't know if did we write this down? I don't know if we wrote this down, but we heard his name earlier, and I was like, yeah, he also had his own show. This makes sense. Yeah, I don't think we wrote it down, but it's kind of in that, like, I Love Lucy kind of era. Queen's Gambit. That's a good call, actually. We didn't write that one down. People, like, adored that thing. Anything that was, like, a Netflix, like, talking point for a while there, I feel like has got to be included. Is that one also? Maybe that's not. Maybe that's actually HBO. Queen's Gambit. Maybe I'm thinking of House of Cards. No, it is Netflix. Okay. Yeah. All right. 44. Star Trek. Yep. Had this one on there. I'm assuming this is the only Star Trek reference here. Next Generation. I think this makes sense. People love Star Trek as a whole. So, good stuff. The Larry Sanders Show. What is this? HBO again. What is who on HBO paid for this list? The Larry Sanders Show. Okay. This may be the first like mega flop for me. I haven't watched it, so I don't want to say for sure, but it's late night TV with comedy. Did you guys ever watch this? Number 43 show of all time, The Larry Sanders Show. Him giving that face is kind of like that. That looks like the face I'm about to give. Like I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. Would 1883 be too late to add this list? We can, but I've never heard of that either. I mean, I could be surprised. The Larry Sanders Show, if you told me that was 43, I would have been like, no, that's not happening. But here we are. So we shall see if 1883 makes it. 42? The Americans. I think one of you said this, didn't you? Did we not? Maybe I took it off the list. Thought this was brought up. This is like a Russian espionage thing, isn't it? Jimmy Kimmel Show. We talked about if that would be on there. I feel like if it has anybody modern, Fallon's probably more likely. But I think the only like late night show person left, in my opinion, should be like a Letterman or something. It was a prequel to Yellowstone. I don't think we're gonna get both. It feels like there'd be a lot for top 40, but maybe. I didn't watch this, but sounds like it could be worth checking out. Number 42. All right, 41. The Real World. Okay. This is kind of when I was looking at like ideas for like Jackass or Jersey Shore or Punk'd could be on here. Real World is kind of in that same realm of what I was thinking of. Any of those like MTV shows. This is kind of like Big Brother-ish. Not really as far as like the actual show content, but as far as like trying to portray real life people doing stuff. 30 plus seasons, dang. Apparently they did not like how it ended in a drunken mayhem. Okay. All right, number 40. Buffy. Yep. Had it on the list. I would say so far, top 10's really going to make or break it. But so far, the list, while there's some hit or miss points, I think so far it's a thumbs up. But there's a lot of time left to screw everything up. It's a very aggressive pair of scissors or whatever that is. All right, next up, The Office. Ooh, I had this, I think, in top 10, didn't I? I did. It's in my top 10, but apparently it's not in their top 10. Interesting. I don't know if you can put a lot of sitcoms ahead of The Office. Are they going to give us the British Office also? They said it was American based, so probably not. But great show. I remember watching, speaking of like comedy being for different people, I remember watching a few episodes before, and the comedy didn't land for me. But then when I started from the beginning, I feel like I actually cared about the story. So I was like, okay, this works now. They also kind of changed the comedy from season 1 to like later seasons. So, but great show. Definitely worth a watch. 38. The X-Files. Yep. I'm curious how many from here going forward we'll have nailed on our list. Like top 40 so far, we've got yep, and yep. It's kind of the go-to sci-fi TV show. This plus Twilight Zone, which we haven't seen yet, so I expect to see at some point. Checks out. Enlightened. Okay, this is the one we wrote down because the text at the beginning, another HBO, referenced it, but I'm not familiar with this show at all. Also, they're mentioning The White Lotus. I forgot to talk about that one. That one could be on here. Cue the X-Files theme, right? Yeah, they had some good, memorable, like, sounds in their show. But I never watched Enlightened. What is this about? I just scrolled down too far, I think, there. Raw performance. Laura Dern, I feel like I'm hit or miss on a lot of times. I think she was in that movie with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. Is she the person in that? I just feel like she plays roles a lot of times where she's not like overly endearing. So I'm like, oh. Also, you're saying you're a rage-filled corporate striver, which makes me not. It's not overly endearing either. But being 37, I think that's high because I haven't seen it. But it makes me think I should watch it because of being this high. No, we haven't seen Friends yet. I think that's going to be pretty high. Is that your X-Files noise? Yeah, that and another one of the ones I used for a short before. I think it was it the Law and Order? Like that dun dun. Also, we haven't seen 24. That's another one with like the ticking clock. All those like small references. I haven't seen Send Help. I think it's one I'll probably wait for streaming, but I'll definitely check it out when it comes to it. Have you checked it out? Is it worth the watch? I'm a fan of Raimi's stuff, so. And I do like, is it Rachel McAdams who's the lead in that one? My interpretation from the trailer, without having watched it, is just like both her and her boss are probably go back and forth between being likable and unlikable. Because it's like her domain out in the island as opposed to in the office. You recommend theater? Is it like something in the is it something you recommend watching sooner, or is it because something in the theater? Like I'm thinking of like Avatar, like that you probably wouldn't watch it in theater type of thing. Send Help struck me as like more of like the plot and less concern for it being on the big screen per se. But maybe you say you recommend because you think it's like worth watching sooner. I'm excited for it though. I'll wind up probably watching it at least when it comes to streaming. I'm a little behind on theater releases. Like Scream's obviously coming up, and I would debate. I really wanted to watch Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Maybe I will at some point soon, but stuff kind of came up, so we did not wind up seeing it, but worth watching. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Probably on streaming, given the amount of other stuff coming out. All right, 36. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Makes sense. Fan favorite show. So far, Enlightened in this top 40 is the only thing that I'm not really aware of. 35. David Letterman. Okay, this is the one I said. I said Letterman should be left. Everyone else, no. So we should be done with like the late night TV at this point, in my opinion. We haven't seen Oprah, so I think we'll get more of like a daily show thing, but I think late night TV is probably should be over. Letterman's got to be like the top. Still in DC. Good luck. Have fun. Don't die. Yeah, I really enjoyed. I love Sam Rockwell as an actor too. He's probably one of my. He may be a top 10 actor for me as far as like a personal favorite. So him being like the lead, I'm like, all right, I'm all for it. And it looked like crazy. So, all right, 34. ER makes sense. Clooney looks so young there. I don't even know if I knew he was on ER, but there he is. Yeah, we haven't seen MASH yet. It mentions it there. We did write that one down. We have seen this other show, which I was not familiar with, St. Elsewhere. Okay, ER. It's not my thing. 34 probably feels a little bit high, but is what it is. Yeah. Does he do much these days acting wise, or is he pretty much off the radar? All right, next up, Jeopardy. Okay, this wasn't even, game shows weren't even on my radar. Like, is Wheel of Fortune on here? Or is it Jeopardy's probably the answer for game shows? I don't think we're getting like Family Feud or like The Price is Right. Whose line is it anyway, though? I'm gonna write that one down. People loved that thing. Another hospital show, yeah. Yeah, we haven't seen House yet. I did write that one down. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen it yet. I don't know if I would put it in top 30, so are we gonna see it is the question. Jeopardy, I probably should have predicted this one. I mean, it's like the game show, so I honestly debated doing like a live stream on the channel at some point with like a Jeopardy game, like making my own questions kind of thing. So it's popular for a reason. People love it still today. I think this works. Lost. Okay. I wasn't sure how close it would get to the top 10. 32 is the answer. I know the ending was hit or miss for people, but as somebody who watched Lost like way later on in its tenure, like when I say later on, like I think I watched it like 3 years ago, I enjoyed it. It's worth a watch. We've had a few animated shows. I don't know when you may or may not have been here, but we had Daria, we had South Park, we had BoJack Horseman. That one was surprisingly on here. Yeah, Lost checks out. If anyone's watched Lost, who are your favorite characters? Jack is probably the one I like the most. Hurley also was cool. But yeah, I feel like Lost got a little bit too big for itself. Like, they didn't really show you much in the movie or in the show, which was something I mentioned when I talked about like Iron Lung. I'm glad like a movie like that, even though it's a lower budget, like had some payoff visually. Lost, a lot of times you just kind of like heard sounds on the other side of a wall or like off screen, which kept it mysterious, but also I feel like it was like, eh. Surprised South Park's on it? Really? I think South Park is a slam dunk top 100 show. Like, I would say I'm surprised it's not a top 40 show. And I say that there's a ton of options, but I think being top 100 makes sense for sure. That's like one of the more impactful animated franchises. Like that and Simpsons are probably the two for me, honestly. I'm pretty sure South Park is like $1 billion plus franchise at this point. Yeah, it's grown a lot. Never seen Lost? I would say check it out. As I said, I watched it only a couple years ago, so it's still held up. You also have some characters you probably recognize. You have a couple of people from Saw, actually, ironically. You have the guy who plays Zepp is in it, and then this guy is the cop in Saw 1. Ben Linus was your favorite on Lost, next to Desmond and Charlie. Is Ben Linus... That's the guy who plays Zepp, right, in Saw? I think that's his name, if I remember correctly. Desmond and Charlie. Okay. A lot of people like Sawyer, I feel like. Desmond was pretty cool, too. He showed up, like, in season 2, I think. He was a bit of a later inclusion. He was the dude that was in the, like, down in the bunker, right? And had his, like, visions and stuff. Charlie was what's his name from Lord of the Rings, I believe. Survivor. There we go. I mentioned I've been watching this. It's probably the answer for like competitive reality show. I don't think we'll really get many more unless there's some that I'm maybe not thinking of. Ben was played with Michael Emerson. I think that's the guy who plays Zep from Saw, right? Michael Emerson. Yeah. Yeah, he was cool. He was very mysterious. Charlie was the rock star. Yeah, he was the dude from Lord of the Rings, as I said. He plays one of the hobbits. I always get confused Merry and Pippin, but he's either Merry or Pippin. We haven't got Breaking Bad's gonna be a top 10. That feels like if I had like a gambling site right now, I would put a plethora of money on Breaking Bad being top 10. That feels one of the few locks for me. If it's not, I think the list crumbles. Even coming from someone who doesn't have Breaking Bad in my personal top 10, I think it has to be in this list. We haven't seen Better Call Saul either. I mentioned earlier, I don't know if they would do them both in the top 10, but people sometimes like them both pretty comparatively. American Ninja Warrior, probably not. Since if you told me like when we were at top 100, I would have said, yeah, maybe. But since we're top 30 now, I don't think that makes top 30. Yeah, if Breaking Bad's not top 10, I don't know what to believe anymore. I think there's a chance Better Call Saul is also there. But I also could see it being at like 17 or something like that. We'll see. Hill Street Blues. I don't know this one. In fairness, it did come out in the 80s. Okay, it's referencing more shows. I did have The Wire in my top 10, so I feel better about that choice now. Just a cop show kind of thing. Feels like that's probably what this is entailing. We also didn't have The West Wing written down. I don't know if that would be on here, but yeah, it's been a while since that show came out. Did you guys ever watch was it El Camino, the movie with Aaron Paul? I never watched that one. I don't know if it's worth at all checking out, but Hill Street Blues, it personally not really for me, but if we're including stuff from the 80s, sure, maybe it fits. Haven't really ever heard much about it. You did? You watched El Camino / probably liked it? Pretty good. 21 Jump Street? I don't think so. Since we're top 30, like we're gonna start having to look back at our list, and maybe at top 20 we'll revisit our list. All right, 29. Friends. Okay. Yep. Not one for me, but it's probably the staple sitcom choice. So makes sense. Popular theme song too. El Camino was all right. Yeah, I think it generally, I don't hear as much praise for that as the other two things. Provides the ending to Jesse. Maybe I'll watch it then at some point. That's the other thing I want to maybe play. I don't know if I'll do it on stream, but Aaron Paul's, the game he was in, why am I blanking? The superhero game with also like Charlie. Dispatch, yeah, you guys got it. I think I'm gonna play that at some point. I don't know if I'll stream, as I said, if I ever do, but that may be something I even could watch somebody else play, because it feels like it's a Telltale style game by newly Ad Hoc Studios. You expected Friends top 10? I don't think I expected top 10. I thought maybe around 20, so 29 is maybe just slightly lower than I would have thought. I feel like top 10 is going to be mostly reserved for dramas. Like, I think there's probably few comedies. We still haven't seen The Simpsons. That could be top 10. Dispatch's Peak. Close to the platinum on it. All right, I'll have to check it out then. You guys seem to enjoy it. I imagine I will. I like Telltale. I like the actors in it. Seems pretty high quality. Are they making more of it too, though? Like, I know they had like another episode release afterwards, I believe. So those games are kind of tough where I'm like, I just want to buy the collection when it's done. So I don't know if they're making more at this point. All right, friends. Now we have the Civil War. Okay. Not what I would have expected. Also, what's the other Band of Brothers? Isn't that a show? That kind of made me think of that. I think that has potential for being on here. The Civil War, though, okay. PBS, historical. It's hard to criticize it. Is it top 28? Yeah, I don't know. Has about 3 endings, so a lot playthrough. Okay. Yeah, I may want to grab it when it goes on sale. Probably during like the spring sale. I'll keep an eye on it. Friends is okay in that spot. I've never watched. I mean, maybe I have. Maybe I just had PBS on and it was playing, but I've never intentionally watched the Civil War. I feel like we read enough about it in school, so that was good enough for me. Tom Hanks made Band of Brothers. That's cool. Dispatch is done. Okay, so they've done all of the episodes for it. Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on it then. Civil War, is it too high? Probably. Is it fine being here? I mean, it's hard to argue with like a historical thing. Also, now that I just thought of this, Planet Earth, like any of those like National Geographic type of things where it's like high production, not really a story, it's more just a like life thing, I think has a chance. All right, next up, Twin Peaks. We talked about this one. As Rusty pointed out, not the restaurant, but the TV show. I have not watched. I'm learning that I've not watched like 90% of this list, but I know its name. It's popular. Have you guys watched it? Is it worth checking out? Maybe. Very bizarre time window. 90 to 91, and then 2017 again. That's going to be Stranger Things when we have like a 20-year time jump to the kids being older. Yeah, I have not ever watched it, but sure, Twin Peaks is fine. Veep. Ooh, okay. Another HBO. I have heard of Veep. I've never watched any of it, but I've heard the name before and being a recommended show. Is she running for office here? Okay, I'm also seeing West Wing is up next, which we didn't write down, I don't think, but we just saw it on a prior show. Never heard of Veep. That's my point. I'm what I'm learning from this list more than anything is HBO. Whoever handles their marketing needs to step up their game. I've heard of Veep. I've never watched it. Let's see the description. Is it something just like political based? It feels like that's like, yeah. Okay, so it could be interesting. Gotham. Yeah, I think to your point, once we get to the top 25, we gotta like, it gets shorter as far as the possibilities. Gotham, if you told me top 100, I'd be like, yeah, of course. But now we're at 25, I will say no. The West Wing, another one I didn't watch. That's what's his name? Is it gonna be on here somewhere? That's Martin Sheen there, but that's dude from Tommy Boy, right? I know it's not his most popular thing, but that's what I'm thinking of. When did Gotham come out? Gotham was 2014. It's 2019. We haven't seen Daredevil. We haven't really done any superhero stuff, honestly. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. The West Wing, probably not one I'd put this high, but I didn't really watch it, so is what it is. 24, MASH. This one makes sense. Iconic franchise. You have like the magazine cover too with the dude. Feels like it deserves 24. Honestly, if you told me top 20, I would have been more likely to believe that. But 24, I think is okay. I think that's a respectable spot. All right, 23. The Carol Burnett Show. What is this? this is a deep cut in my opinion. Sketch comedy. Okay, so it's female-led sketch comedy. Is that the vibe I'm getting here? I don't think I really know this one, which maybe was the point that it was too much male-dominated content at the time. Huh. It kind of feels like it's a bit of an I Love Lucy. Never watched Smash, but I was born in '82. I'm there with you as far as like the gap in watching something like that. Kind of cool it's represented here. Would I put it at 23? Probably not. 30 Rock. Did no one say this? I don't know if anyone said this. I'm also kind of surprised to see it this high. Like, I would have probably put it on the list, but if you told me any higher than 50, I would have been like, nah. Yeah, nobody wrote this one down. Once again, one I have not watched, but hear all the time. We also haven't seen Saturday Night Live. I think that's probably to come. That is likely top 10. Thought dates in 1907, right? Oh, there's this one. Yeah, 67. Yeah, it may still be one of the older ones we've seen thus far. 30 Rock I didn't watch, but Tina Fey's funny for the most part. Probably an enjoyable show. I don't really love Alec Baldwin. He seems like but 22, I would have put this like 30 slots probably lower, but it's okay. 21, Game of Thrones. Okay, did I have this top 10? Oh, I just slid down. Yes, I did. Our top 10 is dying slowly. One I've mentioned, I debate watching this and talking about on the channel. I've never watched Game of Thrones. I did watch the first 3 episodes, and then we just kind of stopped for some reason. I'm also now thinking of Mr. Robot, which also is a show that I stopped watching. I don't know if this is too high at this point, but I'm going to throw it on the list to consider. I've heard the new Game of Thrones show is worth checking out, so maybe I will go back and revisit this, despite people saying the ending is the worst thing ever. So, you're right. We haven't seen Parks and Rec, have we? I don't believe we have. To me, while I haven't watched all of Parks and Rec, having that like higher than The Office feels wrong. So are we not getting it? I would think we're still getting it, but that feels, I don't know. We'll see. The one good movie from Alec Baldwin was Beetlejuice. Yeah, I mean, he's in stuff that I like, but I don't like it because of him. Like, I think he's in The Departed, technically. But I don't watch it for him. I watch it for like 5 other people in front of him. But yeah, I will watch Game of Thrones probably at some point. I need to jump into it, despite it having like described an awful ending. It is finally an HBO show that is well marketed, so I'll have to check it out. All right, we're in the top 20 territory right now. Let's look back. Let's look back at this list. Let's do some cleanup. What could be top 20 realistically? We already had Friends. I don't think Sons of Anarchy is top 10 at this point, so is it just on the list? Maybe. We've had these ones. I don't know if Justified either. I don't think Mary Tyler Moore. We haven't had Cheers yet. We haven't had Leave It to Beaver. Ooh. We haven't even had Dexter. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, 20 is around where I would probably expect Dexter to be, so we're still in the range of that being the case. We're not having that. I don't think we're doing King of Queens either. I think Cobra Kai is probably off the list. We're running out of choices, though. When did Succession come out? I'm going to take that off because I don't know if it was already out. Did we already see All in the Family or Party of 5? I feel like one of those I feel like I recognize. X-Files, yep. Buffy, we saw. I don't think Supernatural is this high. I don't think How I Met Your Mother is this high. We had Twin Peaks. Invincible is not going to be this high. We just had Lost. Wait. There's way too many shows. Not that. Honestly, Let's take all those out. Take Star Trek out. Take all these out. I don't think Sanford and Sons. I don't know that one. Not Ellen. Not Tales from... I don't think any of these are going to be there. We're missing some good stuff, though. So I don't know where we're going to go with some of these choices. Do we have Dawson's Creek? I don't... If we had Gilmore Girls... I think we take these off, this off, had that. I think that's off. Wow, there were so many shows. I mean, we're taking off at least the CKY portion. That's not going to be a thing anymore. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. No. No. Wow, there's a lot of options. I'm gonna take Arrow off at least. I'm gonna take Bates Motel off. Flash, goodbye. Loki, honestly, all those goodbye. We had Letterman finally. Huh. Probably not Mr. Robot. Yeah, I don't think Dexter makes top 10. It does have potential to be in this top 20 still. Okay, so we haven't had Sopranos, Breaking Bad, The Wire, I Love Lucy, Seinfeld. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What are we gonna throw in our top 10 at this point? I guess I'll throw in Better Call Saul. Like maybe like 10. What else did I see that I thought for sure? Honestly, where was Simpsons? Because I think that actually... Where did I put Simpsons at? I didn't delete it, did I? There we go. I think Simpsons makes top 10. And then maybe Cheers. Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Something in that realm. If we have something in the top 20 on this list, that's going to be surprising because we still have so many things. I don't think the OC at this point. It feels like probably not. We'll see. We'll jump in. Here we go. That was also not. Here we go. Here we go for real. All right, Game of Thrones, 21, top 20, 60 minutes. Okay, similar to Jeopardy. Type of show I didn't consider. Sure, fine. I was going to say if there's something not on our list in the top 20, then I'm going to like disregard it or like dog on it. But I feel like this actually makes sense. Like, fine. Not exactly when I think of TV shows, I think of 60 Minutes, but it is iconic. Also has a recognizable noise with the clicking talk or the ticking clock. But yeah, sure. Playhouse 90. Okay, now we're going off the radar here. 1955. You guys remember this show, right? Playhouse 90? I've never heard of this show. I mean, there's stuff that's like old, that's like popular. I literally have no idea. Before television was dismissed as the idiot box. Okay. Weekly anthology. It had plays? Huh. So this is more of like a historical inclusion, we're saying? I don't know. Maybe. TikTok, yeah. I've not ventured over there yet. It's probably a good idea to do so, but I have not chosen to do so. I don't know this show at all, but I mean, the description makes it seem like it has value in being here, so I'm not going to totally rip on it. But we entered in the top 20, and we got hit with 60 Minutes and then Playhouse 90, so that's a little concerning, I will say. considering how much we have on our list. All right, let's jump in. Golden Girls. Sure. I thought it'd be on there. Maybe a little bit too high. I think certainly top 50, but 18 maybe a little bit too high. But it's got a strong impact with Betty White and crew. All right, 17. Oprah Winfrey Show. Okay. This one we kind of got handed to us earlier when it was mentioned this was an example of a type of show. When we talked about like real life daytime TV shows. So sure. I think this is fine. Number 16. All in the Family. I'm not familiar with this one, but you guys did mention it earlier. Yeah, I don't know this show. But it must be moderately popular. Yeah, I've heard good things about that show. For sure. There's probably a lot in like the last couple of years you probably could strongly consider throwing on there. All in the Family. What is this? What's the plot point here? Archie Bunker. Okay. It doesn't feel like he's a likable character. Maybe he like grows as a character, like a Michael Scott from The Office type of thing. All right. I mean, you guys did mention it, so while I'm not sure I would throw it in here. These first 5 of the top 20, they're definitely going for more impact than I feel like, I don't know, like super great show, but 15. SNL. Okay. I had this in my top 10. We got it at 15, so it's not going to be in the top 10. I think it speaks for itself. It led to a lot of comedy careers. Had a movie that came out too that talked about the show. So true. A lot of times, like, character growth is huge. So I think it's a fair point. Someone who's like unlikable at first, but you grow to like them. Never seen The Office. If you like I mean, you mentioned Friends. If you like sitcom comedy type stuff, I would say for sure check it out. I would caveat it with the first season, like, it's based off of the British show The Office. And the first season, they tried to mimic that a lot, especially the pilot episode. And I think after that, they start to kind of get their footing as far as their own unique characters that are more Americanized. Like Michael Scott's the classic example, Steve Carell's character. He's kind of a dick in the first season. And while he's still mean in later seasons, he's like funny about it, or he's like, you kind of feel like bad for him almost. So it's not as aggressively mean, dry humor. Season 8 also kind of sucks when they bring in a bunch of other people, but it's a worthwhile show. I mean, it's in my top 10. I think I have it number 3 when I did my list not too long ago. So I would endorse it if you like comedy. All right, number 15, SNL. Let's see what's up next. Twilight Zone. Okay. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters. SNL, Twilight Zone back to back. I think that checks out. I would have considered putting this in my top 10 if I didn't see it until now. So that one works. I mentioned Black Mirror being the modern version of this. Yeah, it's Michael Scott. There's so many memes you can make from that. He does, I don't know. He's got the best like one-liners, I feel like, in that show. Who's your favorite Office character, I guess, is another question. Mine is probably Kevin, actually. I feel like the scenes with him are just hilarious. Like when he's like getting in the bed, he's like, I'm having pigs in a blanket. Or when he's like icing his feet after the wedding, and he's like, I got, what do you say, 6 numbers or something? It's almost a full phone number. Yeah, I feel bad for him when he drops the chili too. Just a great show. All right, Twilight Zone 14. What's at 13? Succession. Okay, so this is one I had on there and then took off because I was like, is it too recent? Is it in 2013? But I guess it is. People seem to really love this show, so that's why I had mentioned it. and maybe I'll check it out. Once again, HBO probably doesn't do the best job marketing it, but I had heard of it, so it's good enough for that. Dwight or Jim, good choices. Good choices. It's funny when I saw the Meg, seeing Rainn Wilson in like something that's not playing the Dwight role was like kind of jarring. But yeah, those are both great picks. Succession, I kind of thought it would potentially be here. 13, maybe slightly higher than I would have thought. Probably would have said like 20. We haven't seen Dexter yet, so I don't think Dexter's not on the list, but do I expect them to put it in the top 12? That's a question. All right, let's go. Sesame Street. Okay. We're doing the Muppets thing again. We're going for the big impact things that you don't immediately think of. It's like when you list the best video game of all time and somebody says Tetris. Well, it's like, well, yeah, okay. That's obviously an iconic game, but so Sesame Street, sure. Haven't seen Succession yet. I've heard it's more so about like people fighting for like positioning within this like empire kind of thing. I'll read the description here, I guess. Yeah, the upper 1%. It's like these families that are fighting over power. And I kind of question how well that works when people are like, I don't know. It kind of feels like a bit of a Game of Thrones if it was in the corporate world, is my, without watching it, perspective. But it does, I believe, have, I don't see his name on here, but what's his name from Jurassic Park? Dr. Grant. Sam Neill. I think he's in it, but I've not watched it myself. I've heard good things, so I would say maybe check out a few episodes at least. But yeah, Sesame Street. Okay. We have the classics. I mentioned I feel like this probably should be closer to the Muppets, but it was more played on TV with like PBS and stuff. So, and apparently still airing today. So checks out. Number 11, Cheers. Okay, I had this in the top 10 also. 11 just outside, so that works. I think that makes sense, but it also means we have to take it off my top 10. Okay. Well, we're down to top 10 now. We have so many shows. I'm going to need to cross off a lot of these. Let me know in the comments before jumping. I'm going to take a quick step away. What do you think's the top 10? And we will jump in. Be right back. Let's throw that back on. Let's try to evaluate top 10 here. Okay. So on this list, NCIS, I don't think it's happening. Oprah, Rudy had. Avatar, no. Would they really leave House of Cards off? I don't feel like I view it as a top 10 show, but I don't view it as not a top 100 show either. I don't think that. I don't think Cobra Kai anymore. Leaving Family Guy off is surprising, but I don't think so now. Honestly, I think all these go. I think those go. I think those all go. There's a lot of these that, because they're not on the list, I feel surprised, but also like there's no way they make it on a top 10. Like Big Bang Theory, you think that's a top 10 show? I don't think so, but it's weird not to be in the top 100. Probably not House, I guess. Like Modern Family, that's another one. Should be in the top 100, but not a top 10. Are we getting these more like nostalgic ones too, like the Letterman or the 60 Minutes or like the Jeopardy or the Sesame Street, where it's like it's not really a show that I think of, but it aired on TV in a show pattern? I think Lone Wolf, I think those are all locks for sure too. I Love Lucy, Breaking Bad, Simpsons, The Wire, Seinfeld. I think those are for sure on there. Which are these? Let's see. Yeah, I think the ones you mentioned plus Sopranos that King Matthew said. I think these are definites right there. Okay, from here, unfortunately, Fear Factor, Shark Tank, nope. Jackass, nope. Shameless, nope. I think Mad Men's on there. I think Mad Men is on there. I haven't watched it, but I think it's should be included. How many do we have though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can only have one more show. What is happening? I've thought this list was pretty good so far. I don't know what you guys have thought, but all these shows not being on there, I'm like, oh, okay. They may do that, yeah. They may give us a surprise. I think the games one we mostly expected. The Disco Elysium was a miss by me. I don't think Futurama at this point. It's not a top 10 show. Chernobyl, no. Scrubs, no. Archer, no. Oh. Starting to just cross off stuff that's a definite no, because we need to get to one. Only one of these top ones is being included. I don't think Who's Line, Family Matters, Sex and City, Beavis, Peaky Blinders. Yeah, we're going to take all those out. King of the Hill not being on the list kind of surprises me, but I would guess at this point, no. Also, no Entourage and Brady Bunch. That, like, if we're going for impact, that may be my last pick, honestly. No Leave It to Beaver. No House of Cards. No Everybody Loves Raymond. Trying to reduce this as much as possible. Like, I guess not Planet Earth. I guess not Band of Brothers. I thought that show was pretty well received, though, is my only pause there. I guess not Big Bang Theory. I think this is my top 10, and then these are kind of some stragglers. Maybe they want to do Better Call Saul. Maybe we take that out. Like double dipping, originally I thought I was like, nah, they won't do that. But we haven't seen it at all. So I'll keep it for now. You think it's on the list? I think so too, but it feels like they were trying to preach a vast variety of show types. And then you're going to hit me with two of the same franchise in the top 10. We'll see. But yeah, we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think these are as close as I'm gonna get. Sopranos for sure, Breaking Bad for sure, The Wire for sure, I Love Lucy for sure, Seinfeld yes, Simpsons yes. Mad Men even feels like a slam dunk. Also, I mean, all these feel like. Do we just have the top 10 here? Brady Bunch doesn't feel like a top 10 to me, but if you didn't have them in the top 100, that feels weird. If that makes sense. Like, it's the weirdest to just not include it all, given everything we've been shown so far. That's probably the last one I would consider taking off, though. All right, here we go. Time to jump in. Number 10, best or greatest TV show of all time. Roots. What is this show? I've never heard of the show. Yeah, we'll find out. This was a swerve for me. I'm assuming there's an impact for this one, given like the year and the photo and the brief description I'm seeing thus far. Based on a novel, 8 episodes of a miniseries. Family from before was forcibly made American. Okay. Kidnapped into slavery. Seems like probably a good show, like as far as like the meaning behind it. Top 10 TV show all time. Eee. I was ready to give this list a thumbs up. I don't know how you guys have felt, but this feels like, I've never heard of it, but like from the description, worthy to be talked about. But is it a top 10 show? It kicked off a massive miniseries that includes Shogun. Well, we haven't seen Shogun on his list, so is this like the better version of that it's saying? I appreciate the inclusion of it, but I don't know if top 10 is my thoughts. Also, that means one of the things in our top 10 is no longer in the top 10. Is Brady Bunch going out? Let's see. Number 9. The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Wow. I think Rusty pulled this one way earlier, and I since have deleted it. I'm like, nope, we're done with those. This list is going downhill, guys. It's going downhill. Like, we're doing... I don't know. It's going for, like, I feel like trying to branch out too much, which is fine for the list, but once you get to top 10, I don't know. I don't know if that works as well for me. Because it also means a couple, like 2 of these now are not on there. Like, I don't mind this being 9 if we included, like, Better Call Saul at, like, 13 or something, but some of these that I've talked about are not going to be even thought of at all. All right. I can appreciate the impact of the show. Let's keep it moving. Seinfeld. Okay. Had this one on there. I'm not like huge into the show, but I recognize it's like the iconic sitcom, and Jerry Seinfeld's like a gajillionaire at this point. So I know we canceled another person shown here, but I understand this is probably a well-received show and probably makes sense to be here, and is the first one on the top 10 that we've gotten it right so far. So we'll take that one out. All right, number 7, The Wire. This is the classic example. It's another HBO. I guess that makes sense. Of a show I know is supposed to be great. I've had it recommended, and for some reason, I don't know if it's like the camera filter. It feels dated to me, even though it's really not that old of a show. So I've been reluctant to like get into it, but I've heard it's like the best show ever for a lot of people. George is your favorite? Homie over here. That's cool. But yeah, I probably will watch The Wire at some point. At least it's on my list to do so, but hopefully I get around to it eventually. This and Game of Thrones are probably 2 that are like no-brainers that I should at least try to check out more. So I approve of this pick. We've gotten a couple in a row that makes sense. All right, number 6, Sex and the City. Okay, I had it on the list until we got to top 10, and I'm like, there's no shot. But we're going for a diverse list here. I think I'm gonna say what I just said earlier with Roots. Like, and being on the top 100, yes. The number 6 best show of all time. I don't know. I mean, different genres are for different people, but I don't know if I would go there. If you had this at like 20, I would have been like, yeah, checks out. But 6, I don't know. That's not looking good. We only have 5 more, and we have way too many shows. We have way too many shows. I don't think Better Call Saul is coming at this point. I will say that. That was a movie. They did a movie, I think, as well, but it started as a show. But yeah. All right, so we're at the top 5 now. Let's quickly recap. Let's reconvene because, yeah, it's both. Because I'm a little shocked. All right. Dexter's not happening anymore. I hate to say it. Brady Bunch, I don't think it's happening. I don't think that. We had The Wire. I don't think those 2, probably. It's got to be between these 5 or 6. I think I'm... What do we take off of this list? Is it The Walking Dead we take off? I mean, that show has like a billion seasons. It has like The Talking Dead. But I don't know if I could see any of these not being on the list. Like Sopranos and Breaking Bad. These are the two locks. Like, it's not even a thought. Yeah, I think Walking Dead is probably the one we take off. I Love Lucy. It's not necessarily my go-to, but they've even talked about it in the list. So to not have it would be absurd. Simpsons is the most, like, I think it competes with South Park, but it may be the longest running animated show. And to not have it would be crazy. Mad Men I haven't watched, but I know people like adore that show with like John Hamm and stuff. I guess it's The Walking Dead. I guess this is our 5. These two for sure. Honestly, these 3 because they have talked about I Love Lucy so much. Would they really miss The Simpsons? That feels unlikely. Let's check it out. Number 5. Breaking Bad. Ooh, interesting. At 5. Some people I feel like put this as their number 1. I'm surprised it's not like 2. Watch us get some like Tetris situation though, where it's like, hey, you guys didn't think of, as I said, whose line is it anyway? It's a super impactful show. 5. If I'm doing a list that's not like my own, I'm assuming like everybody's opinion combined. 5 feels actually probably low. Like for it to be any lower than 2 feels surprising. But maybe it's a bit like harsher of like a plot as far as it gets kind of... Oh, I didn't switch my camera back. Oops. My bad. Yeah, we were at Sex and the City. We're on Breaking Bad now. But yeah, 5 for this one. I think it could be a little bit higher. I would have thought top 3, but we're doing some different things on this list. We're not just doing like greatest shows. It feels like we're doing more so greatest representation of shows more than anything. Yeah, I agree. I would have thought that was my expectation as well. All right, number 4. Is it going to be Simpsons? I Love Lucy? Simpsons. Okay. Well, they redeemed themselves a little bit. So far, the top 5 is what we expected as the top 5. Once again, not a show I really watched a ton, but I can't argue their impact. Their video games were fun. They had so many like collectible memorabilia things. They predicted a ton of stuff. Like it's on the list. It deserves top 10, I would say. 4 maybe debatably too high, but yeah. Depends what they have at number 1. I think Sopranos is number 1. I think there's little chance it's not, but who knows? Yeah. Breaking Bad at 5 surprised me, so Sopranos could surprise me also. I've actually not watched The Sopranos ever, too. That may be one I need to watch. All right. I'm thinking we still have Mad Men and I Love Lucy as my thing. So I'm saying Mad Men up next is my guess. Ooh, hit me with The Sopranos at 3. Uh-oh. Is it going to go I Love Lucy, Mad Men number 1? Is I Love Lucy number 1? Okay, so far the top 10 has been a mix of shows that I probably wouldn't have included and shows I would have probably put in a different spot. I don't believe we've had Criminal Minds. We had a lot of shows that were similar, but I don't believe we had that one specifically. I'll probably run through it again once we get to the very end to make our assessment if it was a good or bad list. I've gone a little bit back and forth. I was like, yeah, for sure, good list. Then recently it's been like, I don't know about that. I know Sopranos, another one people didn't love how it ended, but iconic show. All right, next up, Mad Men. Okay. It seems like our top 5 was probably correct. If we end with I Love Lucy, we had the top 5 right at least, right? Because Mad Men, Sopranos, Simpsons, Breaking Bad. The order wasn't the same. I would have put it in, but that's so far what we expected. Throw the list away. Yeah, some of it I would say that's probably the case. I'll have to go back and like undelete a lot of the stuff on the notes, but there's a lot of shows I didn't have, surprisingly. All right, number 1, it's I Love Lucy, right? Yeah, okay. A bit anticlimactic, but at least it wasn't like a surprise. Watched all Mad Men, got to the ending and thought, wow, what a waste of time. It feels like that's the way a lot of shows. People thought that about Game of Thrones, it felt like too. I don't know, it never really felt like my kind of show. I didn't always love John Hamm as an actor. I've kind of grown to like him a little bit more, but yeah, it seems interesting at least. I Love Lucy for sure. I watched that growing up, obviously. Is this may be the oldest show that's on the list? 51. Yeah, classic go-to. Would I say it's number 1? No. I think we've gotten better as time has gone on, but it makes sense for the time, or makes sense for the top 10. Love the time period, but that's it. I think I don't like the time period. I think it's part of why I was like, the theme, all of that. All right, so let's take a look at everything. Let me go back to this too. Let's see if I can undo like all this as much as possible. How much is it gonna let me do here? Actually, decent amount. Okay. I restored some of our list because I wanted to see how much was missing. All right, so what we were shown, just to recap, and let me know your guys' thoughts. We'll do a poll at the end too, for folks who are still here. We had I Love Lucy, Mad Men, Sopranos, The Simpsons, Breaking Bad, Sex and the City. That one still feels a little bit high. The Wire, Seinfeld, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Roots, Cheers, Sesame Street, Succession, The Twilight Zone, Saturday Night Live, All in the Family, Oprah Winfrey Show, Golden Girls, Playhouse 90, 60 Minutes, Game of Thrones, 30 Rock, The Carol Burnett Show, MASH, The West Wing, Veep, Twin Peaks, The Civil War, Friends, Hill Street Blues, Survivor, Lost. Those are kind of funny next to each other, actually. I don't know if that was intentional. Jeopardy, ER, Late Night with David Letterman, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Enlightened, The X-Files, The Office, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Real World, The Americans, The Larry Sanders Show, Star Trek, Dick Van Dyke Show, Leftovers, Friday Night Lights, The Shield, Watchmen, My So-Called Life. That one I am interested to maybe check out. It feels like it is very Freaks and Geeks kind of. Arrested Development, Johnny Carson, 6 Feet Under. That's another one I probably should check out. Gilmore Girls, BoJack. Kind of surprising it was this high, especially because we didn't get like a King of the Hill. That feels a little bit odd. Maybe it's more for their like new age. I feel like they didn't want to double dip too much. Like Better Call Saul was not on the list. So like maybe including South Park and Simpsons made them be like, hey, King of the Hill. No. They also didn't have Beavis and Butthead, which was surprising because I mentioned it earlier. Law and Order, Chappelle Show, Good Place, South Park, In Living Color, Orange is the New Black, The Comeback, Angels in America, The Jeffersons, Freaks and Geeks, The Bob Newhart Show, RuPaul Drag Race. Yeah, some of these, I feel like I questioned the like objective of their list. Like if you said most representative, like, I don't know. Like is RuPaul Drag Race better than Better Call Saul and Dexter and I don't know, King of the Hill? I guess it depends on the person. Grey's Anatomy, Roseanne, People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story, Living Single, The Wonder Years, that's a good one. NYPD Blue, yeah. Deadwood, Taxi, Fresh Prince, Daily Show with Jon Stewart, Dallas, Muppet Show. Like that too. Like is the Muppet Show the greatest 100? Probably not. It has its place in history, sure. Scandal. But I feel like because we did Sesame Street, do we need Muppets also? I don't know. 30 something. Fleabag. Stranger Things. They definitely tried to bounce, like, Fleabag probably, it's more of your new age inclusion. Maybe same with Stranger Things. Atlanta, yeah. So a lot of these have, like, they try to do different time periods, which is why I think it's more representational and less necessarily just greatest. Columbo, Girls, Happy Days. This one felt pretty low. General Hospital, Mr. Rogers also felt pretty low. I had this at, like, I don't know, top 20 originally. Cosby Show, Daria, Saint Elsewhere, Will and Grace, I May Destroy You, Black Mirror, The Good Fight, Top Chef, Homeland, Hannibal, and The Community. It kind of felt like some of these later ones, they just went for some, like, variety of picks, unless, like, I don't know. Is The Good Fight, once again, are all these better than, like, House of Cards or Dexter or, I mean, Black Mirror, I do like. That should be higher. Like, they talked about this show pretty much being, like, a few other shows, like these other ER-based shows. So did you have to have this one on there too? I don't know. So that's the list of 100. Let me catch up on chat. Sex and City 6th. Yeah, I thought it'd be top. I thought I probably would have put it like 20, I said. 6 felt maybe a little high, but Succession, I thought, but then I was like, was that too new? I don't know. Because this list was 2023, but I think it ended in 23. It looked like. You don't like I Love Lucy as number 1? I mean, it's going for impact, it felt like, for sure, with that spot. Yeah, Chris, I'm avoiding leak stuff for sure. So I would advise you guys doing the same thing for sure. If you're not wanting to know, obviously, if you don't care, then go for it. True Detective. That's another. Wow, they didn't mention True Detective. We didn't even talk about True Detective, but that's a weird one not to have on there for sure. Let me go back to the full screen. Yeah, people love True Detective. Never been on Twitter. You're not missing much these days. Maybe back in the day I would have said, yeah, sure, jump on, but it's a little bit worse today. Only the first season. True. I mean, I would agree that the first season is definitely the best. But there's a lot of these shows that were on here that were all like Freaks and Geeks is only one season at all. Let's look at what we had on here. I deleted some of these already, but this is somewhat of our list. Let's see what was missed out on, I guess. Like, no Leave It to Beaver surprised me. I wasn't sure if we would do like an Avatar. Better Call Saul. That's the big one that feels like a miss. We didn't have Everybody Loves Raymond. No Cobra Kai also. No Walker, Texas Rangers. No Family Guy. No Entourage. No Heroes. No That 70s Show. You didn't have Criminal Minds. I don't think we had Saved by the Bell. No Andy Griffith. No Ozark. No Squid Game, Mandalorian, Prison Break. Nope. Brady Bunch surprised me. I was like, they're going for the impact. That show was like classic. No Arcanes. No X-Men. No Yellowstone. No The Boys. No Malcolm in the Middle. No King of the Hill. No Jersey Shore. No Bachelor or Bachelorette. Big Bang Theory. Nope. I don't think we had any of these. No House. No Ted Lasso. No Modern Family. No Sabrina. We didn't wind up doing any of these like judge shows or like kind of like drama shows. No 24. No Shark Tank, Fear Factor, Jackass. No Peaky Blinders. No Beavis. No Family Matters. No American Horror Story. No It's Always Sunny. That was kind of a surprise. None of the like superhero things, it felt like. No Scrubs, no Futurama, no Queen's Gambit, Who's Line, Band of Brothers, Planet Earth, Mr. Robot. Yeah, I was glad to see that on the list. Probably made sense not being any higher than where it was, but it would be for me. No Walking Dead. That one is kind of surprising. I'm now looking at this down here. Right? Because we had SNL. originally, but no Walking Dead at all, which is odd. I'll say it, this list ain't good. I'll do a poll with you guys. Originally, we were like, I think we got to like 20. And before I looked back at our list of stuff we still had, I was like, this is not bad so far. And then I looked back and I was like, wait, we only have like 20 slots and we're missing like 50 shows that we wrote down. And then they gave us a bunch of shows that I did not consider, like 60 minutes. And I was like, oh, crap. I will put a poll out. I'll do a quick step away and I'll give my thoughts on it too. We'll see what you guys say. As a quick reminder, I guess, of the top 10, because that was probably that I put more stock in the higher rankings. We had I Love Lucy, Mad Men, Sopranos, Simpsons, Breaking Bad, Sex and the City, The Wire, Seinfeld, Mary Tyler Moore Show, and Roots. Yeah, the movie list wasn't good. I want to try to be giving them, like, I will say so far my thoughts are this list was better than that list. But they also has some like big misses, like no Walking Dead or Dexter or Entourage or any of these other like shows that are pretty well known. It sucked. Maybe we'll look at another one at some point. I mentioned at the top that there was other websites that did this. Like I almost did the Rolling Stone one. I figured since we did Variety before, let's just do it again. It worked last time. I'll probably give it some time before considering doing it again, like this specific idea, like for the top 100 shows. But it, yeah. So what you guys think overall? Start a poll. I also forgot to play my Live or Die clip earlier, so we'll have to do that still. Does this list all right, we'll let that run and I'm gonna take a quick break. Be right back. Music back on, and let's see what things look like. Yeah, Variety doesn't feel like, I don't know. I mean, it's fitting for the name. I felt like this list showed a lot of variety. But you didn't say that. You didn't say the top 100 shows of the most variety. You said the greatest 100 shows. So with that greatest backdrop, I don't know. Let's see what you guys are saying. Let me end the poll here. All right, 2/3 of you saying the list was no good. You know what? I was torn because, as I mentioned earlier on, I was like, this is going all right. These aren't shows necessarily I super like myself, but they're recognizable shows. They're ones that I've heard other people talk about. So that made me feel optimistic more than we've gotten on the last couple lists that we've done. Let me jump back over to where we were. So, for the sake of today's stream, let's decide.
Live or die. Make your choice.
I think as a whole, the list definitely got things right, and the list got things wrong. Did it get more right than wrong? I think the answer is yeah. I think it's a down list. If I had the option, I would probably put it somewhere in the neutral territory. It was like, for the most part, got stuff right, but I think it's still a failing grade, ultimately. Like, top 5 we nailed. So with that in mind, that's why I was debating. I was like, is it a yes? But then like 6 through 10, like The Wire, I think should have been actually top 5 originally, and Seinfeld. I don't know. I feel like 6, 9, and 10, I don't know if they made sense in the top 10. And then after that, it just felt like we left a lot of stuff out. We could have probably taken some other stuff's place. Like, I don't really know. This is definitely more of an impact show. I've never heard of this show. I'm trying to think what else. 30 Rock probably should have been a little bit lower. Probably a little bit lower. Probably a little bit higher. Probably a little lower. Probably a little lower. So I mean, I definitely debate because it got a lot of correct ones. So I could have seen a situation where we said yes. It's probably I'll say this, it's the best list we've gotten thus far in the 3 lists that we've done. It is the most correct given the prompt. But I think when we're missing some of those big staples, it feels weird. Like, as I said, not to have a top 100 that has like The Walking Dead. Why? It's not like we had some other zombie show in its place. But like, oh, this represented the zombie like type of shows. So you could have taken out some of those doctor shows, some of those like cop shows probably in its place. Would I be checking out the Carrie TV series? Maybe. Probably depends on when it comes out and all that kind of stuff. But Carrie as a movie is not one I was like overly interested in, but I'm open to it. We'll see. So yeah, it was fun going through the list of stuff. There's probably a few shows that I picked up and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll watch that. Probably more so there's shows where I'm like, I know I need to watch that, and I probably just should start to do so instead of just say I'll do it eventually. Like Game of Thrones, I definitely should watch. Given the like how it's supposed to end awfully, but so yeah, pretty fun time. I think there's a lot of positives with the list, but some fatal flaws that probably kept it, especially because you guys, I think if you guys said live, I would have been swayed that way, but the 2 out of 3 saying no good persuaded me. So but yeah, I think we'll call it there for today. Appreciate you guys coming and hanging out and giving your thoughts and just talking shows and whatever else kind of came up during the conversation. So yeah, I'll probably stream again sometime soon. Not a whole lot of plans for this next little bit, so probably plan to do it again in the near future. Probably like a game stream, something that's more me doing something actively. So we'll see though. So once again, thank you guys for coming and hanging out, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care.